Next up, Jaron Cohen, seventh-year head coach with the Ponderosa Mustangs. Jaron, you had practice today, right? So I kind of want to ask you, what's that looking like nowadays with you having practice sessions with your guys?
Yeah, so we right now Douglas County is still in phase one where we can have 25 kids, can't share equipment. We were told yesterday we could start sharing footballs. So we have to do temp checks when they come in. We have 4 groups of 25. They can't change groups. We temp check them on the way in. Can't have any symptoms. And then, we socially distance as we can. Everything's outdoors. So we're lucky to have a great strength coach, Patrick Nolan actually, I'm wearing a shirt today.
There you
Pivotal
go.
Sports Performance. Just opened his facility in Parker. He's phenomenal. We're super lucky to have him. He and some interns and then coaches have stations. So it'll be a warm-up, and we'll check that group in at 6:50. They do warm-up at 7, and then the next group comes in at 7:20. We have a coach checking them in. So they'll just kind of shuttle through, warm-up, speed and agility. They'll do a weight station outdoors with dumbbells. We have some trap bars out there and some benches. And then they go down for conditioning. So it ends up being about, an hour 10 workout, about 15 to 20 a station.
Again, Jaron Cohen, seventh-year head coach with Ponderosa. Of course, we always have to, qualify at any given time. Anything can change, right, during the pandemic era. But right now, are you doing phases? Are you approaching a next phase with what you can do?
Well, this was one of the years, I guess one of the lucky things we have is that we were planning on doing our camp at the end of July 20 to 31st. Past few years, we've done it right after Memorial Day and done 5 days at Ponderosa and then going to a college camp. So a little anxious if we could have had that camp starting Monday. We got kind of the heads up, you can share a football, and there's going to be some loosening of restrictions starting Monday. So we're planning on having a 2-week camp. Now, it's going to be a little different. I don't think we're going to be in full pads, tackling. There's not going to be a scrimmage at the end. But, if we can get some install stuff in, some individual drills and some group work, we'll make the best of it and get ready to roll. We kept postponing ours. We always do a staff meeting a week before the camp, and July 11th, I said, well, let's postpone it because who knows if we can even get together July 20th. And then we got the go-ahead. I said, hey, clear your calendars. We're meeting Saturday at 5. So we're gonna get together, all the guys, and kind of skeleton out what that looks like and get the boys rolling on Monday, July 20th.
What's the biggest challenge that's been for you so far trying to execute training in summer camp?
It's been hard because usually we try to let our kids have a summer, and we have a lot of multi-sport, competitive baseball, competitive lacrosse kids, basketball kids. So, usually our summer will be letting them have a summer. I think a big thing and why we've been successful is not, grinding our kids down all summer where they have weights in the morning and then they come back for a, practice for an hour and a half in T-shirt and shorts, which is optional, right? But it is, kids go. So what we've done, usually we have weights, and then every day one of our assistants or myself will lead some type of just 15 to 20 minute, positional work, footwork, hitting a sled, 7-on-7, and then the kids go home and have a nice day. So not having that piece of the football specific stuff has been a little challenging, but thanks to our strength program and our strength coach we have who runs with it, and we're just his assistants. I feel like from a conditioning standpoint, we're fine.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things I keep thinking intuitively, and no one's telling me that I'm way off, is, hey, we're looking forward to fall sports, looking forward to a 2020 football season. With all that you're dealing with and challenges, maybe execution might not be the sharpest, but I think you guys have been able to prepare mentally and with conditioning, right? So that part will be okay.
And it kind of goes back. There's been a lot of discussion about competitive equity as this has been left up to districts. And, even with us, we were able to get with our players June 22nd. There were some districts that got with their players June 1st, with a football, with groups. There have been districts that now are up to 100 kids, 50 on each side, sharing equipment, spraying it at the end. And I'm not going to bring that up with our team.
Right.
I'm not a guy who's going to let our kids have something in the back of their head to be an excuse. From a physical standpoint, we're going to be fine. And then it's on us as coaches to really streamline and focus on, as if we have a game August 28th, and to make sure that we have what we need in for that game and that we run at a high level. And if, instead of having 6 run concepts week 1, we have 4, let's make sure we're really good at those 4 and identify what they need to be. And, I'm confident in our staff, being able to put together a good product on the field, and most importantly, our players who, have shown a real commitment to playing football for Ponderosa. And, with the film and the practices, we don't have kids late. We don't have kids not doing what we ask them to do. So we're fortunate in that sense. And, we control, we can control.
And I would assume your program's not different than many others, right? The enthusiasm is there for the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've just, our kind of mantra in this time has been staying ready. So if it was, Zoom workouts, we made it competitive. Someday I'm going to have the receivers over for a barbecue because they won the group, but I don't know when that's going to be. It's going to be okay, but we had some fun with that. And just staying ready. And, our thing's been, it's going to stink a little bit that you put in all this work, and if they say the season's delayed or moved, but wouldn't it be a lot worse if you assumed it was going to be delayed and then they said, boom, you're in, and now you're not in shape? So, I've been proud of our players' effort and commitment. I mean, we had to have 95 kids shuttle through today. So that's pretty good. That's about what it usually is in the summer in a regular year. So,
yeah, what's that quote that we hear around football circles? Don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
now,
right.
You mentioned how, what we're trying to get to is I guess that holy grail we're looking for, which is, yes, football is a go. I always want to source you guys. You're a head coach of a varsity level football program, Douglas County. What are you sourcing to kind of get a read on which way this could go? Are you looking at medical data? Is it the CDC? Do you strictly watch Governor Polis? Are you looking at publications from journalists? What are you looking at?
About a few weeks ago, I stopped watching the news because it's just not positive. And, I just wait to hear what, in the summer, it's Douglas County saying what we can and can't do in Douglas County schools to our players. So I kind of wait for those, and we get a ding every couple weeks. It seems like CHSA has made the move to not put out scenarios, which other states have done. That's their decision. If I had $1 for every time someone said, are we going to have football this fall? I said, I get the same stuff you do, as far as what I'm sourcing, it's just kind of a wait and see. At the end of the day, I think just stay positive, hope for the best, and be ready to pivot. And, they told us 2 days ago we'd have students at Douglas County August 10th, and they told us yesterday August 17th. So, it's if I try to analyze stuff and figure it out, I'm going to make myself crazy, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So, it's definitely a frustrating time. There's part of you that wishes, like some states have done, where they say, hey, scenario 1, school's in session, no modifications, all the way to, scenario 5, no fall sports because of the CDC or the governor, and we're going to have shortened seasons starting in December. I think that came out from Virginia today. It would be good to see those possibilities. CHSA has decided not to do that and to kind of not even put anything out there because they kind of get people spun up when they do. CHSA will put a tweet out, we're not sure if we can have high-risk football, and boom, 200 people attack. And then 2 days later, hey, we're looking at having fall sports, and then 200 people celebrate. And then, it's kind of this just crazy time, Marty. I mean, personally, I'd appreciate some type of layout of what some possibilities are, but CHSA's not doing it. And I can't make them. So what am I going to do about it, right?
Most of what everybody consumes, and you know this because Jaron Cohen has a very healthy, active Twitter presence. A lot of tweets and posts that fly by, right? Is most of what I think the general public is aware of is more at the NFL and the college level. When you see things like the Pac-12 and the Big Ten announcements to go conference only, or the Ivy League where we had big react about that, how does that impact you when you see that information coming through?
You know, it's surely not a positive sign, but I think I don't think you're comparing apples to apples. You know, I think when you're talking colleges, you're talking about flights, hotels, travel, intermingling, some states. And I mean, really on the face of it, Colorado is probably one of the better ones to be in right now. You know, going to states that aren't hit, you know, that are hit worse. Like, you know, if, you know, someone from Colorado has to travel to Texas and the Texas numbers aren't great, then that's going to be a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, high school is not the same as college or NFL. Now, if they come out and say, we're not going to let you have NFL football because it's not safe for the players to engage in this football activity, then that's going to give me some pause. Okay. But, you know, as far as the, you know, level of play, it's just such a different dynamic there. You know, I hear stuff from all these coaches. They say, oh, we might just have games in your district to let go of travel. And Douglas County, you know, applied for a variance mid-May and got some of our stuff open because at that time there were 22 cases per 100,000. So maybe they say, hey, Jaron, Ponderosa's playing Rock Canyon, Highlands Ranch, Legend, Shap, you know, Castleview, Douglas County. Who'd I miss? Mountain Vista, Thunder Ridge. Okay. You know, that's kind of 9 schools that seem to be in an area that's doing pretty good with this virus. You obviously can't do that with college or the NFL. So
right.
I don't get freaked out when I see that. But honestly, if they say we can't because the sport of tackle football is not allowable, then I think that could trickle down to high school.
Now, we have seen a modest but very real upward trend in the number of cases here in Colorado. Certainly, like you were talking about, we're not Florida, we're not Texas, Arizona, Jersey, or whatever. But I do want to ask you, why do you believe, and why is that what you're communicating to your program, that we could have football this fall?
You know, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but you know, and I have a 10 and 7-year-old, and, you know, remote learning, credit to their teachers, working hard, making engaging lessons, being available, but not a great time for my boys. You know, not the social interaction, the sports, you know, and that trickles up, you know, because I look at this as a parent, as a teacher, as a coach, and I mean, I've never had so many kids smiling while running sprints. You know, I've never had, you know, my 10 and 7-year-old, I make them train, you know, and I was having Henry, my 10-year-old's football team over, and we'd have 10 kids there running hills with a smile, you know, in April. And it's like, you never see it. You say, Dad, I don't want to. It's like, oh, they're coming over. Great. Let's train, you know? So I think too, that there's a lot more people that want to have sports than don't. And if I digress for a second here and probably might get attacked, I think there's, you know, out of the 100 kids we had for weights, and we say it's optional, and if you're not safe or not comfortable, then we'll send you the workouts Coach Nolan can send you. Not going to be held against you. We had 1 kid. You know, so 1 out of 100 said, hey, I'm not comfortable. There's some issues at home with his father. We're not going to send him to weights. Okay. You know, 99% of kids wanted it. I don't think we have one family that I've heard from, and we have a big program. We have 120 kids that has said to me, whoa, we shouldn't have camp. You know, so, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but it just seems like the parents, the players, the coaches, they want to have sports and at least give it a go. So I don't know at what point, that takes over. So that makes me think that there's a good chance we have it. And, you feel awful for the spring athletes who got everything taken, their seasons taken. And, it went from March 13th, hey, we're going to have an extra week of spring break and deep clean, to, hey, we'll see you end of April, to we'll see you end of May, to have, enjoy your summer. But, here there's definitely some time to plan some scenarios, and I've heard different scenarios of shortened season, delayed season, flipped season. I have not heard canceling. So that gives me some hope as well, if that makes sense, Marty.
Yeah, absolutely does. And then final question I wanted to ask you is, we know this, and, I'm holding back my opinions because we want to see what you're thinking. Okay, but it is fair to say that we've had the decision makers at all levels regarding this pandemic era in our sports really deliver messages to us saying what they need to see. In terms of you being a guy who deals with young men and then all their supporters, right, the parents, the boosters, and so on, is there anything your football players can do and show and communicate that may help and impact what we're trying to get to, which is a football season?
That's a really good question. I think, I'm not someone who's going to talk politics and that type of stuff with my team. I think that's, an individual decision. Once upon a time, I was a history teacher, and we, present different sides, but we don't advocate ours. I think all we can do is be a role model. And, when you're a coach, you can't be late. You got to be early, right? And you can't be negative or, frowny and then expect your players to. So with us, my hands are just covered in sanitizer all the time because I'm always squirting and, just trying to show them. And I'm not preaching to them, and I'll have my mask on when we need to have it on. And I'm not, saying, hey, these are not necessary. And, then, maybe kids pick up on it because it seems like there's a big push now in the media with, the wear your mask now so I can wear my helmet in the fall. So just trying to show them, some practices that seem to be supported by people a lot smarter than me in this situation. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't know, but that's what we're asked to do, and I'm sure going to do it. So.
Right. And whatever your beliefs are, the football season would be right. I think that's cool.
Football season would be right. I'm biased, but, it's more than just playing. And, I don't want to sound like some cliche, but, 120 kids in the program, one kid failed off the team last year, and that's in a school of 1,400. So, we have almost 9% of the student body in playing football, which is a high percentage, and less than 1% of that failed off, and I'd probably bet quite a few bucks that more than 1% of Ponderosa has Fs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's good for them for their grades, their social life. Getting up at 6:30, you can do that, and that carries with you, and and then obviously just the fun. We have kids who've played football their whole life, and they're geared up for their senior year, and their parents are geared up for it, and you just hate to see that taken away. So
what's your target date for game one in the fall?
It would be Thursday, August 28th versus Legend.
Okay.
The official start of Chassa practice on the books now is August 10th. You get the 3 weeks with a scrimmage or 2 weeks with a scrimmage, and then the third week you have your game. And no one's told me different yet. So
right. And what a great target, right? Pondo Legend. A couple people might be interested in Parker.
It's a fun one.
Absolutely.
It's kids all know each other, and stadium's electric. Who knows if that'll happen, but it's one we circle every year, and they circle, and it's just Parker kids getting after it and having fun, and it's got a good buzz this year. We're going to play Chaparral non-league. That'll have a great buzz to it. We'll, we're excited. So, we're just going to keep our fingers crossed and stay positive, because all the other noise can really put you in a dark place. So we try not to go there too much.
All right. Well, think good thoughts, and you guys stay targeted on August 28th. 7-year head coach with Ponderosa, Jaron Cohen. Thank you, Jaron.
Thanks, Marty. Good talking with you, bud.